There are two ways in which any government can proceed. One is a way based on what you and I would call a free society, which is enshrined right at the heart of the American Constitution. The other one is a way which allows only one view, both of economics and politics, in which almost everything is either owned or controlled by the state, including the media, including the ideas, including freedom of discussion and everything. There is no freedom of discussion. Now, between those two ways, the free society and the totally controlled society, there are, of course, variations. I think what we've learned in Britain is that we've gradually, over the last certainly 12 or 13 years, with perhaps a little interruption, gone slowly further and further away from the free society towards something else. At the same time, we've found, I don't find it strange, but some other people do, that we have stopped creating wealth. We've had a large number of increasing restrictions. And you've been finding two things. First, that we are more and more concentrating on redistributing the wealth we've got, rather than creating any more. To create more, you need a slightly freer society, and you need an incentive society. Naturally, when I see that happening, I look with very great alarm to societies which have gone even further left. That is, they've tried to redistribute even more and haven't had the incentives for people working hard on their own account, doing well for their families, and often then being able to create jobs for others. They've produced a much more prosperous society than we have.
We fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds.
Thank you for joining us. You are listening to A Radio, and this is The Morning Moment. We're on weekdays, 11:45 Eastern. Follow us on Spreaker.com and click on the like button. Well, this is a very interesting piece that I came across. It's from CCN, Cross Canada News. The title alone should kind of scare you. It's entitled, "Is the Government Preparing to Steal Your Land?" Now, it may be Canadian, but it does have possible repercussions beyond its borders. I'm going to play for you the audio of a YouTube and let you make your own mind up. But there does seem to be an official document behind this. There is an actual PDF document, and you will be able to see it yourselves because I'll put a link to it on my website. Please make your own mind up. Don't just listen to me. And if you're in the States or the UK, it's not irrelevant to you. But consider this. If this is in any way true, even parts of it, it goes yet again to another example of Agenda 2030. As I keep saying, the countries who don't have that yet, or should I clarify that? Yes, I think I will. For those of you who think you don't have it yet, perhaps, just perhaps, you might want to investigate in your own backyard to make doubly sure that you don't really have it, or even any part of it. Or maybe it's just that it hasn't been implemented yet, because, I don't know, let's just say the right people aren't in office yet. Here's the piece. Links on my site.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CCN Cross Canada News. Well, if you've heard enough about the climate emergency, hang on to your seats. There's a new one. It's called the Nature Emergency. CPAW's brought this up. It's Canadian Parks and Wilderness Society. Seems that they're looking for land. They're looking for up to 17% of land, inland water, and oceans by 2020. They want 30% of all land, inland waters, and oceans by 2030, and 50% or more by 2050. This land, a lot of it is going to be rural, of course, and if you happen to be one of the unfortunate people that are living in the country, you might get a notice that you've got an offer on your property. And if you don't take the offer, you probably won't get another one. You'll probably get an eviction notice, because all this land is going to be set up for conservation to help save the planet. And this is worldwide, and guess where it's coming from? None other than the United Nations. Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. There's some recommendations. Governments should recognize that Canada is facing a nature emergency as well as a climate emergency, and that together these threaten the well-being of all Canadians. Governments should complete all existing protected area proposals in a timely way. The federal government should champion a goal of protecting and restoring at least half the earth, and a milestone target of protecting 30% of land and inland waters by 2030 in the next strategic plan under the UN Convention on Biological Diversity, and commit to these targets at home. Governments should implement this 2030 target through inclusive participatory regional planning, including Indigenous-led land use planning informed by science and Indigenous knowledge. This planning should focus on ensuring protected area networks are well connected and representative of all ecosystem types, including key biodiversity areas, encompass culturally significant spaces, and are consistent with international standards. If you're unfortunate to live in a key biodiversity area, whatever the government declares that is, you could be looking for a new place to live. And I guarantee you it won't be in the countryside. They want everybody moved into the urban areas, into the big cities, where they can be monitored and controlled so much easier. And plus they have a lot of votes in these areas, and the rural areas usually vote against a liberal government, and they're not happy with the United Nations, so why would they want you out there when they can put you in with the other masses in the cities, and your vote definitely won't count then. Governments should commit to proactive, increased, and sustained funding to deliver on their 2030 targets and to support protected areas, including through new conservation finance mechanisms. So the finance mechanisms, I'm not sure what they mean by that. Maybe that's the checks they're going to give you for kicking you off your property. I don't know. Federal, provincial, and territorial governments should establish and manage protected areas in partnership with Indigenous peoples, support Indigenous protected areas, and apply the concept of ethical space put forward by the Pathway to Target 1 advisory bodies. I've read where they have already organized this with the 12 Indian tribes in Canada. So it sounds like another transfer of property, put it that way. So I'm going to leave this link, and you can go through it. There's a lot packed in there. You'd have to try to pick it apart. But what I suggest you do is I'll put in a link to an article on Agenda 21. And you can look at the two links, and you can probably see the significance and how obvious this is. So there is no nature emergency. It's about as big a nature emergency as there is a climate emergency. So this is another huge step by United Nations and the governments of some countries. Canada, they're looking for Canada to lead the way. Maybe we are the model for the UN Agenda 21. It sure seems like it. So if you like this video, please like, share, comment. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Bye for now. God bless.
You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you can find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Gab, and email. We are also on Spotify. Just go to the podcast section and type Canadian Politics with a twist, and you'll find us. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass on the links. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all our morning moments at Spreaker.com under A Radio. That's EHRADIO, A Radio. And please click on the like button. And you can now hear a weekend review of our podcasts on WHBJ DB. News Talk Radio. Join us and many others, and you can find all our podcasts and Morning Moments at aradio.wordpress.com. Click on the Morning Moments tab.